Ocean Kelly has been practicing meditation for nearly 40 years in a variety of Buddhist traditions, including Zen, Insight, and Tibetan. Additionally, she has been teaching for 20 years, and might I add, she was one of my teachers on retreat. Welcome, Ocean.
Thank you, Kathy. Great to be here.
It's nice to have you, and you came from such a far, far away place.
From the cold of Minneapolis.
That's right, to the cold of New York.
But it is warmer here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not much, though.
No, not much.
Not enough. Not enough. You're still like all bundled up. So we're going to talk about, in this segment, about open awareness. So tell us a little bit more what that is and where it comes from.
Okay, so open awareness is a practice of resting the mind. And so it's really, it's wonderful practice in that you could call it a non-meditation in a sense, because you don't actually have to do anything. You learn to rest the mind. And you know, we know how to rest the body, but often we don't know how to rest the mind. And it becomes really important.
I'm not sure we know how to rest the body, but go ahead.
Well, we might know a little bit about resting the body. But you know, our minds are often so busy, you know, so many thoughts, emotions, you know, thinking about this and that all over the place. And that's okay, but within that, there's an awareness that's here, that's with us all the time, that if we can just begin to recognize, it has an effect of helping the mind to calm down, to be a greater spaciousness. There's a sense of presence that happens, and we can still see the play of emotions, the play of thoughts, but we don't identify with them as being who we are. So it's a simple practice where, you know, all we're going to do is just let the mind rest and not do anything. And then that will probably happen for a minute or a second, and then it'll pick up, and then we just let it rest again.
And where does that tradition come from?
So this comes out of the Buddhist tradition, and in particular out of Mahamudra. This is Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And for me, this was a really important practice because I had been meditating for a number of years and was quite a doer. You know, could be quite good at trying to do meditation.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ring a bell?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's a sort of a very Western thing, you know, where we're always trying to do something. It's like a task to do, something to accomplish, something, I don't know. It's like that continual grinding of like planning and I don't know. And then we just bring that right into the meditation.
That's right, exactly. And so now our task will be to do nothing.
And so you were saying that with this open awareness practice, it came for you at a good time, you said? Because
a really good time. Probably any time would be a good time. But it just helped me to find the naturalness of meditation. Right. Instead of having to try to create a state of mind, trying to fabricate anything, it would just helped me to learn to rest the mind. And out of that, we can see more clearly.
And who taught you this practice? Where did you pick this practice up?
So Mingyur Rinpoche is one of my teachers and has been a very influential teacher. And so this is a part of what he teaches. And so he teaches open awareness first, and then we learn how to use any other aspect of experience as a support. But it begins with this natural quality of awareness.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had read his books, and I loved his books, and I loved sort of the way he sort of merged like science and meditation, but he's also really practical and really real worldly, you know? So like he's really, you don't, I mean, sometimes when you like read a book or hear a teacher talk, you know, you feel like, oh, they're so far up here that you can't hardly even relate to him. But he has a way of like bringing it down to sort of a very a low level, so that like
the word is accessible.
Accessible, yeah. That's it, accessible. So he brings it. He makes it really accessible, and I really appreciated that about him.
It's his great gift.
Yeah. So he's also from the Tibetan tradition, then.
Yes,
that correct?
he is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
So do you want speak just a moment about like like a little bit about his background?
His background, so he's been a monk, well, a monk for many years. He's right now coming up to about 40 this year, I think. And he was
40
born,
years old?
40 years old.
Oh,
yeah.
he's young.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he's quite young.
Oh.
But he's been practicing since he was a young child. He was born into a family where his father was a great meditation teacher. And so he began pretending to meditate when he was a child, running off and finding a cave and hiding in it and pretending, as if he could meditate. One time they had the whole town out looking for him because he'd disappeared. But then he did a 3-year retreat when he was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
And something that's interesting about his doing that retreat, he was really had a strong desire to go on retreat. And he wanted to learn how to meditate to be able to benefit the modern world. And so he carried this aspiration to do this, to learn how to be with his own mind so he could help others to do the same. And so his father used to teach about awareness in a very simple way as well. So it's a great gift that I think he's giving to us as meditation becomes more and more well known, and that I think it has the potential to really help people see it as something they can do. And it's not something lofty,
right?
But
it's accessible.
It's accessible, and in fact, this is a practice we learned that we can do in any moment in life. And for me, the effect of it, it's like you're engaged in life, you're all hooked into something, and then you remember, and it's just like boom, let be. And so for a moment, you're putting down that whole burden that we carry, and just let be. And within that, there's just this natural awareness that's here.
Maybe we should try it. You want to try it?
I'd love to.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay. So we begin by finding a posture where the body feels stable. The spine is upright, supportive to a sense of wakefulness. And the muscles in the arms and the legs are relaxed. And just taking a moment to let the mind come into the body and just feel the sensations of sitting. And then as we have relaxed the muscles in the body, we can also relax the mind. We do this by letting everything be just as it is. All of the sense doors are open. We don't have to block any experience. And yet we don't follow or chase after these experiences. Just relax and let be. And yet undistracted. A sense of presence. quite likely that a new thought comes that we chase after, get entangled with. But as soon as we recognize this, awareness is already here. We simply let be. We practice this short moments many times. No need to try to hang on to awareness. It's already here. Just resting. If you want to, you can also just lightly rest the awareness on the sensations in the body. It's being present with these sensations by simply knowing they are here. Could be the sensations of breath, sensations from the posture. This can help to give a little bit more stability. And then when you feel to, going back to open awareness, where there is no focus. Just letting be. Thoughts might come and go. Emotions come and go. And we just let them go their own way. the sense doors open. But not following any one experience. Okay. How was that?
Well, it was pretty good, but I still wanted to do something.
You did.
Yeah.
And that's really common. You know, that we're just programmed to do. And we have what Mingyur Rinpoche often talks about as a little monkey mind inside. And so, you know, part of this practice is really learning how to make a friend of monkey. So we're not trying to block monkey. This is not a practice where we try to get rid of thoughts. We're simply, you know, in the moment that we see we've picked up with a thought, we recognize it, we just let be again. And so that will last for just a moment, but then, you know, we see another thought come, pick up. As soon as we recognize it, let be.
So are we, I mean, the name of the practice is like open awareness. So, I mean, are we trying to, like, I'm not sure how to phrase this, but like trying to get like a little expansiveness from what's going on, like our current experience, maybe? Like
the word trying doesn't quite work with it, but what the effect can be that there is more spaciousness.
Is that part of it? Are we trying to do that? Or I can't think of another word, but like, is that part of the thing, is to sort of have a spaciousness?
By not engaging, by not following, that's where we usually get tightly wound up into our experience. And so what we're learning to recognize is that thought comes, that emotion comes, and the tendency might still be there, but then it's like, let it be. Just out of that, there's the spaciousness.
So it's really a let it be practice.
Let it be, yeah. And so whatever comes, it's a let it be.
Let it be.
And then as we go on, we learn how to use any sense door experience as a support. So we are learning to be with any experience of body and mind with awareness.
So if I was going to do this practice at home, the whole thing would be to sort of sit and get comfortable and sort of be in awareness of the moment, I guess, maybe in the physical moment. And then to sort of just watch with awareness what's going on with a bit of, without sort of grabbing onto any of it.
Without grabbing, without needing to focus on it. But it's a simple presence. It's so simple. You know, even just you're saying, so if I was going to do it at home, that can already make it like a big deal to do. So what we're really looking to is in any moment, that natural quality that is here, that is aware that we're sitting here right now. And we don't have to think about, figure it out to do that. So we're just looking to that quality of knowing in the mind and just resting in that for a split second.
So you mentioned a couple times the sense doors. And can you talk a little bit more about that? I mean, what do you mean when you say that?
Okay, so we see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch, we have thoughts in the mind, we have emotions that come through. This is all part of our experience as being a human being. And what happens is because of this little monkey that gets engaged with all of these different experiences, we start to create patterns of behavior, we start to create problems in our life that really don't need to be a problem, but that we have interacted with all of the experiences we're having in a way that becomes problematic. And so what the practice can really help us to do is to come home, to really open to what are the qualities that we have inside us that are inherent, you know, to notice qualities of loving kindness, compassion, wisdom. That's what the awareness illuminates. And so by doing this practice, we start to not be so identified with all of these experiences. And I think that's what you're pointing to in the spaciousness. And yes, the mind doesn't collapse into these experiences and become who I am.
Mm-hmm. And we just let it be.
And we let it be. Just rest.
And just rest. So if you kind of have talked about two different things that I kind of want to talk a little bit more about. One is I want to talk about, like, if I wanted to have a home practice, like if I wanted to try to do this a little bit at home, how could I do that? And yes, what should I?
Right.
So
it's helpful to have a space that one practices in. It's helpful to have a formal practice because that will feed the practice we do in daily life.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want meditation to become limited to a formal practice because our habituated mind has been going a long time, and that if we only put in a few minutes of meditation a day, it doesn't have such an impact. But if we can learn to meditate formally but also be practicing in daily life, then it has much more effect on our lives.
And so how much time do you think I should start with?
Yeah. So, to start with 10 minutes is great. And I think you can do like we did in the beginning, find the posture, relax the muscles in the body, and let the mind be. And then if you find that there's just so much chatter that you're just lost in it, then you can use one of the sense doors as a support.
One of the senses.
Yeah, so like we did the body when we were doing it together. So just becoming aware of the sensations in the body. You could do it with sound. But anyhow, you pick something that just helps to give awareness, something to lightly rest on. It's not that you have to focus hard at that time, because the essence of meditation is awareness. And so we're just using our sensory experience to help recognize that awareness that's already here. And so resting it on the sensations in the body for a bit, or the breath, and then when you feel to, you can just rest and open awareness again.
Okay.
And so you could do that for 10 minutes in a day if you want 20 minutes.
And that can be my sole practice. That could be pretty much my whole sitting meditation practice.
That could be your whole practice, yeah.
Okay. And then we only have like a couple minutes left, but I want to talk a moment about, so there's the sitting practice, so we sit kind of formally.
Yeah.
But then you said we can also do this in everyday life. And
in everyday life,
how do
in
I
every situation.
How do I do that? When do I do that?
Walking down the road, walking down the street, just let your mind be. As often as you remember.
Just let it be.
It's like, this sense of you're doing something, and then you just for a moment, let be. Just let be. And then, of course, monkey picks up again. If you can, right there, you can let be again. You just go back and forth between letting be, being lost, letting be, being lost. And you stay steady in that coming back. It doesn't matter. We have this habit of being lost, but every time we see that, we've actually remembered. So there's kind of a rejoicing that comes in that. And so whatever we're doing, anytime, anywhere, we can do this. And it doesn't turn us into a zombie because our sense doors are fully open. So what it does, it puts down that burden, that fixedness of mind that gets so entangled with experience, and opens up the space to more possibility. It just brings a simple presence into our lives that is very beneficial, very helpful.
Yeah, it sounds nice. I've been trying it while we're sitting here, like listening, half listening,
right,
coming back.
Coming back.
But I want to really thank you so much for coming today. We're going to be doing another segment with you shortly, but I really enjoyed the open awareness practice, and I hope that people will sort of get a little bit more information and look into the open awareness practice and sort of the Tibetan tradition. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.